Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Committee Corner. Today, you've got both of us, Stephanie Hamilton and Margaret Edwards. It's August recess on the Hill, and so we're going to take some time, talk a little bit about what August recess is and why we have it, and then also tell you just a little bit about us, so you can get to know your hosts a little bit better.
There we go. So what is August recess and why are we talking about it? August recess is, a time in the legislative year where elected officials, both in the House and the Senate, go home for an extended period of time. While they're in their home districts or their home states, they, take meetings with constituents. They might also, take some time, spend it with family, because they're not, traveling back and forth, from DC to their home state or district. And just have an extended period of time there. August recess was actually first added into the Senate calendar way a while back as a way for senators to get out of the DC heat. If anybody's been, in DC in August, it can sometimes be a little bit unbearable between the humidity and the heat. I mean, we're not, down in Florida where it's also the same weather, but it's a way to get back to their home and kind of, escape the DC heat for the summer. And it was actually, officially a thing in the Legislative Reorganization Act of 1970. So kind of why are we talking about it? During August recess, the Senate and the House kind of, shut down and just exclusively go and work in their districts. So there are no committee hearings. There are, we're not seeing legislative action on the floor of either chamber, except for now, which I do want to note today technically should have been the start of the Senate's recess. And, we're still seeing them on the floor trying to work on this infrastructure bill and eventually moving into the budget reconciliation process and starting that before they actually adjourn for August recess.
Yeah, I just have to say that it's a great idea to give them a way to get away from DC in August, because Washington DC in August is, I mean, like even today it is so hot and humid outside.
Yeah. Oh, I should
It's a good time to leave.
Yeah. I should also note too that we'll often see leadership in either chamber threaten shortening August recess if they don't get their work done. And so usually that lights a fire under the butts of the elected officials. And they're like, okay, we want August recess. We want this to happen. So let's actually get a move on the work that we're doing.
Yep. It's a pretty good incentive. So now we wanted to take just a couple of minutes. We've been doing these committee corners for a few months now. And so you've seen Margaret and I both quite a bit. And we've spent time talking with other guests that we've had, talking about some of the issues and things that NSPE works on. But we haven't ever really taken time to introduce ourselves to you all and give you a chance to learn more about sort of who we are and why we do the work that we do, how we got into it, things like that. And so we wanted to, since it is August recess and there isn't really a lot of committee activity or any committee activity really to talk about, we thought it was a good time for us to introduce ourselves to you all a little bit more. And I'm going to actually hand it off to Maggie. I'm going to let you go first. And,
Great. So hey everyone, you know me, my opening spiel all the time. But my name's Margaret Edwards and I'm the policy associate here at NSPE. I've been on the team at NSPE for about 2.5 years now. Which is wild to think that I've even, been here for that long. And part of my job as the policy and advocacy associate is to, look at the, bills that are in my policy portfolio, which is, I share the licensing portfolio with Stephanie, but I also work on infrastructure and emerging technology policies here for NSPE. So, tracking that legislation, but also, engaging you, our members, in grassroots advocacy opportunities. And I think, something that I've really grown to enjoy is that grassroots aspect of the position, getting time to interact with, whether it's state leaders or just, members, out here in NSPE that, are fired up about these issues, and exciting. It's exciting for me to see some of the level of participation that we do get. And, that spurs me to want to, keep creating opportunities for our members who really are fired up about advocacy and contacting their elected officials about issues that are important to them. So I want to, keep finding those opportunities to give those to the members. So that's a little bit of me in a nutshell, at least with what I do here on the team at NSPE.
Awesome. And I'm Stephanie Hamilton. You have also heard my opening spiel multiple times at this point. I'm the Manager of Government Relations and Advocacy for NSPE National. And one of my responsibilities is to kind of help set overall kind of strategy and priorities for the things that we work on. I also have my own legislative portfolio that I'm responsible for. Like Margaret said, we share licensing because there are so many kind of sub issues within licensing that that we divide that one up. In addition to that, I'm responsible for paying attention to policy related to STEM education, and then also sustainability and resilience. So those are my primary areas. I've been at NSPE almost 3 years. It will actually be 3 years later this month, which is cool. Kind of a fun milestone to hit. And before coming here, I was at the American Federation of Teachers for about 5 years, where I worked on policy and was also in the political department over there, kind of doing some work with their PAC before I came to NSPE. Fun fact about me, and Margaret, I don't know, not to put you on the spot, if you have a fun fact you would like to share.
I'll jump in after you go.
But yeah, I wanted to share a kind of non-work related fun fact. My fiance and I are both really big soccer fans. We have season tickets to DC United and are also very devoted fans of the Manchester City Football Club, which is part of the Premier League for folks who are soccer fans. We're part of a local supporters group that watches Manchester City games at a bar in DC called Lucky Bar. It's a soccer bar. So if you ever want to watch a soccer game, Lucky Bar is the place to go. They seem to always have matches on. And yeah, so kind of one of our things that we do is go hang out with fellow Manchester City supporters and cheer them on, sometimes very early on a Saturday morning, which is kind of a weird thing to do, to be at a bar at like 8 o'clock in the morning. But it's just a really fun atmosphere because there's a whole local supporters group for Manchester City. And so we all get to kind of hang out together, and we haven't been able to do it in the last year and a half because of the pandemic. But, prior to that, we didn't go every Saturday because that would be a lot. But we'd go, a couple times during a season, and just kind of hang out with everybody and cheer on our team, which was really fun.
That's great. I mean, I always love hearing about anytime you talk about soccer and, any, DC United happenings.
It's so much fun. It's especially fun when Manchester City and Manchester United are playing each other, because both of those teams have local supporters clubs in the area, and both of them have Lucky Bar as their home base. And so on the day when they're playing each other, it's just kind of full of Manchester City and Manchester United fans kind of taunting each other. And I mean, it never gets mean spirited, which is one of the things that I'm always grateful for. But there's definitely some lighthearted animosity between the supporters groups. And that's always fun.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it is. And my non-work related fun fact, kind of with, doing things Saturday mornings. And I know most of, the team here at NSP knows that I am a runner. I'm an ultra marathoner. I've run 2 ultra marathons and, have a few marathons and half marathons under my belt. So yes, that is, usually on Saturday mornings, I'm out on a run of whatever length, if it's spanning from like a handful of miles to a lot of miles. So that's really, what I do. And I know, something that Stephanie and I have always talked about is baking as well.
Yes.
Particularly, if it's related to the Great British Baking Show.
So good.
Baking through, different skills that are on there or different recipes directly from there. That's something I enjoy to do, kind of to unwind and, feed my friends.
I feel like we also both really upped our game during the pandemic. I think because we had so much time at home. I think we both tried some really, like I made a Snickers cake for somebody maybe 6 months ago. And it took me, I think like 4 hours, which I have never taken that long to bake something ever in my life. It took a really long time. And I actually had some leftover cake batter when I was actually baking the cakes. And so I also made cupcakes and then did all the same fixins on the cupcake as I did on the cake, so that my fiance and I could actually taste it. And it was delicious. I don't know if I'll ever make it again because it's really labor intensive, but yeah, I feel like we both stepped it up a little bit in the last year.
I mean, if you're not, seeing friends, what else you're going to do? Stay at home and bake something that's, warm and full of carbs.
But then you have to find people to give it away to. Otherwise you're eating all of that stuff. And then, yeah,
it's fine.
So that's a little bit about us. That's who we are. Your government relations team. I know we both have really enjoyed doing these committee corner episodes. I think it's kind of become a favorite part of both of our jobs, because it gives us an opportunity to talk to you all and to, to talk about the things that we do as the government relations team, but on a really practical level, and do it through a lens that's a little bit different, but also really relevant. Because like one of the things we talk about, so often is, committees are kind of the beginning and end, of a lot of legislation. Most things that never get passed, the bills that get introduced that don't become law, most of them get stuck in committee. And so, yeah, it's just been really fun to talk with you guys about kind of that process and maybe even demystify it a little bit, so it doesn't seem so foreign or so strange. It's been a really fun process.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of, I think I'm just going to throw this out there. If they're, as, Congress, both the House and the Senate, or just one chamber, get back into action in September, as there's, if there's something you want to learn more about, see more about, like, please do, email either Stephanie or I, either just our emails, or we have a shared one. It's governmentrelations@nspe.org. Send that there. We will certainly listen to your request, and we might actually, do a committee or episode on that topic. I mean, as long as there's, a committee activity kind of related to it, we can probably, make it work. So,
or questions. It'd be really fun to do a Q&A where we answer questions that we've gotten via email or whatever. That would also be really neat. So yeah, if there's a topic that you all would like to hear, or if you have a question, by all means, send them to us. Because I think I would love to be able to put together like a Q&A episode at some point and answer some really specific questions. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, great. So I think, Stephanie, is that it for today?
That's it for me.
Great. So, thanks all for tuning in, listening to, Stephanie and I give you all a little bit insight into, who we are, what we do here at NSPE. So we're just, not talking heads on a screen. And hopefully we've kind of, I don't know, got rid of that, we're just not talking heads on the screen type thing. So, please do tune in next time. We're still going to be, pushing these out, even though, Congress is in recess. There might be some stuff in the past that we haven't been able to talk about because it wasn't super relevant, maybe to like the current infrastructure conversations happening. But we will be coming out with a new episode in the near future. So you can find the NSPE Committee Corner on the NSPE Advocacy Center or on the NSPE YouTube page. So thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.